Well, I think it comes in large part because when people do change their coolant, they have to have a way to dispose of it. So in essence, firms have grown up over the years whose business model is, hey, we'll come collect your used antifreeze. They then take it back and recycle it. Well, virgin antifreeze, the main ingredient, of course, is ethylene glycol, and then also in the coolant are corrosion inhibitors. But when we do an analysis of a used coolant, we can see what the inhibitor package is. We can see the decomposition products of those corrosion inhibitors, and probably most importantly, the glycol itself degrades with time to form glycolic and formic acid. As I said, the main thing is glycolic acid, formic acid. So we can also see when a consumer or an end user has topped off with a coolant different than the one we sold them in the first place. Sometimes you'll see sulfates which are leach out of the hoses that are in the vehicle. Little bits of metal, metal shavings, even sand sometimes from the casting of the engine in the first place. Depending on the process, it may or may not have the capability to remove the dissolved contaminants, which are the more dangerous or harmful materials in a used coolant. There's four main ways of recycling used antifreeze. One is filtration, one is ion exchange, one is reverse osmosis, and one is distillation. The worst is by far filtering. It's really a very poor process, and it's almost the same as having not changed your coolant at all. It's sort of no different than what you would use in your house to help purify your water. Probably they get out about 80 to 90% of the contaminants and leave 10 to 20% in there. Reverse osmosis is a method where the use of pressure forces the glycol water through a membrane and keeps all the contaminants on the other side of the membrane. It's a hard to run process. Not a lot of people run that process. In theory, this should be a very good process. When you do this distillation, some of the impurities still come through. Recyclers came to the committee years ago and said, we would like to have the standards for coolant relaxed because they could not meet the standards for virgin coolant. And the group in the industry stood fast and said, why would we relax our standards so an inferior product can now claim to meet these standards? If you buy a recycled coolant, it's like buying a used car. You don't know how it was treated, what happened to it, and if some problem happens down the road, there's not really much you can do about it. Recycled coolant can be different today than it was last week and will be different next month because it depends on what coolant they picked up that week and how well their recycling process went.